Hello everyone, my name is Ruth Daimai, and today I want to share a short message from the Synoptic Gospel of Matthew chapter 6 verses 19 through 24, and I entitled my message as Living with Integrity in a Temporary World. So when we talk about the integrity, we always abstain from some and maintain some such an individual to maintain moral integrity and economic, but our social integrity is absent. So in John chapter 17 verse 14 and 15 says, "We are in this world, but not of the world. So we live like we will never leave the earth. We live in such a way that we don't need each other, and we live in a way like we have enough time, but we never realize the mistake and step we may take our entire life or may not restore or make things to each place. So we live as if like we are not going to leave this world and stay here forever. We may live like we will not leave this position. We live like our riches will never dry. We have stored in our account. Is it our pride, dishonest pleasure, or fame? Or is it working for the rewards in heaven? So through our love, peace, and humility, and our culture has changed. We see people family broken due to alcoholism. We see marriage breaking due to extra material affairs, and we see our neighbor take extra land from our property, fight, and quarrel take place. So in this culture and context, we live in says we have given an importance to the treasure of this world. So our hearts are fixed on temporary living, and I want to ask the question, why do we do what we do? And in Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 24, I won't read out the whole passage, but here in this context, the position or one richness was defined by gold and silver, crop and harvest. So the Jewish writer also regularly warned the people that wealth is not the final determination of one's spiritual standing before God. Wealth could be acquired legitimately. Material wealth was important to the people of Israel, since it was often seen as a sign of God's blessing and the reward for obedience to Him. So Jesus warns against the everyday concerns about wealth and worry, which can be rob disciple of the kingdom's priority in their personal life. But on the other hand, he teaches how his disciple can properly live with the priority of the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, including their ideals, visions, priorities, and security. So the thieves break and steal. When the thieves see, they will take away from you what they feel is good for them, and we will feel lost and cursed. So, the kind of thieves Jesus has in mind here robs from the rich to serve himself. So, the moth, rush, and thieves represent those forces which cause earthly treasure to diminish in value and destroy. So, rather than collecting the material valuable in this life, Jesus says, store up for yourself treasure in heaven, that is the act of righteousness of the preceding section, giving to the poor, praying and fasting, or any other valuable deeds. So Paul refers to the gold and silver of the Christian work for the kingdom that will be rewarded at the day of the judgment. In 1 Corinthians 3:12, 15, Jesus goes beyond good works to focus on the heart. So where your treasure is, there your hearts will be. Also, the hearts represent the core of the person's being, the real inner person, the causative source of a person's spiritual, emotional, and psychological life. So, what a person value is driven by the nature of the person's heart. So, Jesus had already indicated that the heart is the source of our good or evil deeds. That is the condition of the heart. So the righteous value must be God Himself. Rewards are important, but the greatest treasure in heaven is the Father. So this will set a trajectory for healthy discipleship, including one's priorities, one motive, one righteous deeds, ambition, security, personal self-worth, and relationship. So through this, we can learn and reflect is that the things we are working for the sin, for the things that are seen will be lost through this. The intended meaning of finding and treasure storing is the unseen realms which cannot be stolen. No worms will eat the crop, and no ornament will get rust. It is important to have wealth, but that wealth should not be meant to suppress the life of the others, but rather love others with what you have. So the treasure of rewards and prize that God has for us. For it says, no eyes have seen, no ear have heard for the things God has prepared for those who love him. So in loving people, whom God has placed for us. So the eyes is the lamp of the body. The eyes is the organ that send visual information to the brain. Here Jesus uses the eyes in a different metamorphic sense as the lamp that illuminates a person's sinner's life. There was a close connection between the heart and the eyes. So Jesus now indicates that when our eyes focuses on something of value, it becomes the conduit that fill our heart with what has focused upon. So if our eyes is good, it is conduit that allowed our heart to be filled with the light of the God's treasure. So the word bad here denotes the moral evil. So the evil eyes in the ancient world is one that obviously covet what belongs to other. So it is considered as greedy or avaricious. So if a disciple's eyes are fixed on earthly treasure as his or her value, personal significance and earthly security, then the hearts will likewise be full of darkness. So when we focus on something evil, our eyes become the conduit by which evil fills the inner person. So deep down, I was just thinking that people who were blind are so blessed that they cannot see. We who can see have become blind to our things happening around. We fail to empathize, we fail to recognize, and we fail to direct it. So our eyes are corrupted, for we see anything and everything and we desire. So Paul reminds us to be content and to pursue righteousness and to run for the prize before us. So we cannot serve two masters. We cannot serve both God and money. So there can be no divided loyalties with God. So the temptation to worship the God of materialism was well known in Judaism. So my children, love of money leads to idolatry because once they lay astray by money, they designate as gods those who are not gods. And it makes anyone who has it go out of his mind. Greed and covetousness are favorite snares of the evil one. So commands and warning against greed and covetousness. And ultimately, there is only one choice service, love and devotion to God or to Satan. So loving God is not merely a matter of emotions, but of serving and giving oneself to Him completely, our heart, our soul, mind, and strength. But here the questions might be, if I choose God as my master and place my value and worth and source of security in heaven, then who will take care of my daily needs on earth? So Jesus directed attention to the issue of worry. In particular, this master will take care of the basic need of Jesus' disciples so that they can give attention to more important issues of life, especially like sum up in the expression, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. And what is the treasure we have stored thus far? Let us store treasure about and press on to the goal before us. For Paul says to Corinthians, no eyes and no ears and no mind have imagined things God has prepared for those who love Him. So let us love Him, let us adore Him in our daily life, in our workplace, and our family. So as I close this sermon, I would like to state, in loving God, we love people, and through loving people, we show that we love God. Glory be to God. Amen.